Well, take a look at this now. The charred debris is all that's left after flames raced through an historic covered bridge in Bucks County. Now, the bridge was a link to a different century, a link investigators say was destroyed by an arsonist. Firefighters raced to the scene, but it was already too late. The antique span known as Moods Bridge stood on Blooming Glen Road in East Rock Hill Township. There are now only 12 covered bridges left in Bucks County. And it's too early to tell if Moods Bridge will ever be rebuilt. So far, there are no suspects or motive.
They filed into the Percy courtroom one by one. 6 young men, ages 20 to 21, confessed to 4 criminal charges: arson, conspiracy to commit arson, criminal mischief, and the conspiracy to commit criminal mischief.
We work for a nonprofit organization called the International Institute for Restorative Practices. We conduct, among other things, these restorative conferences. And really what a conference is in the wake of a crime or a wrongdoing, we bring together the people who have been affected by that. Everyone who's been involved, the person who did it, the person who saw it, the people who were affected, and we give them an opportunity to talk about what happened and what impact there was on each of them and what they all need to move forward and how the harm can be repaired to the extent that that's possible.
So Bob and I were assigned the task of facilitating the Moods Bridge conference. We knew this was going to be a big conference. There were 6 offenders involved and some number of community members we knew we would want to invite. That could be anywhere from 2 to 26, so we weren't sure at the beginning. To make this a little easier, we decided that we would split the work up. I would talk to the offenders and their family and the people close to them, and Bob would talk to the victims, affected community members, and try and get them to attend the conference. This included going to their house, making phone calls, and getting in contact with people, giving them the information so they could decide whether or not this is something they want to do.
I was hoping to have a chance to come out and actually meet with Ben and yourself and Robert face to face, just to talk about what to expect, answer any of your questions. It's sometimes a lot better to do it in person.
So when I go to meet with the family for the first time, usually they're really nervous, I'm nervous. I'm going into a household where something really stressful has just happened. So people are upset, and I'm meeting them for the first time and trying to introduce them to this process also that they probably have usually never had any experience with before. So there's a lot of just unknowns.
This is an opportunity for everyone here to gain a shared understanding of what happened, how people were affected, and how the harm can be repaired. I'd like to start with Vinny. What happened?
We all went to see dodgeball the movies. And after that, we all went back to Naso's house. And we hung out there for a while, and then people started talking about what we could do.
We were sitting around there just talking and hanging out. And when the idea came up to light the bridge on fire, and
I guess someone got an idea to get gas, to try burning it down with gas.
And we met back up. We went down to the bridge again and lit it on fire.
tried to stay calm, but I mean, we were all flipping out. It was pretty clear what we had done, how big it was.
What were you thinking about at the time?
Until that moment when it lit on fire. Didn't really think it was ever going to happen, and definitely didn't think about anything that was going to happen after the bridge got on fire. I guess up until that point, it was more like the act that we were thinking about. And once it caught on fire, you just start thinking about what did I just do and what's going to happen to the rest of my life.
After it lit, like the whole realization of what we had just done had like surfaced. And it was just fear and regret.
Felt bad about it, especially when all the media coverage hit about the bridge and all the outcry from the community about how much they loved it and how much it was important to everyone. And you just felt horrible and wish you could go back to that day and change everything. And like it's on your mind every single day, like no matter what.
What have you thought about since?
I think about it like every hour basically since. Just why do we do that? Just think about how I disappointed everybody I know. It's not a good feeling when everyone you know is disappointed in you. You let them down.
And every day I replay the situation in my mind, and I can just pick out so many spots where it would have just been so easy to put a stop to it. And I just can't understand how I didn't, and I get mad at myself.
Wondered why we didn't think through what we were actually doing and think of the consequences.
Who do you think's been affected by your actions and how?
People really cared about that bridge and really kind of symbolized this town. It was kind of the big thing in the area, and they don't get to go across that bridge and see that bridge anymore, and it's kind of just gone forever.
I've got little brothers that look up to me. I feel like I've let them down. I'm a bad role model.
My parents have to go through this with me as well. I hate that. My mom cries all the time.
John, what was your reaction at the time of the incident?
It was nothing like standing there at 3:30 in the morning and watching the bridge collapse and burn. And look at those firemen who weren't much older than, or some of them aren't as old as these fellows, fighting that fire and the jeopardy that they were placed in. The fact that they didn't have water to drink, we took care of that. We got Clemens open, took bottled water down, and the bridge was gone.
And then the next day, it was as if someone had passed away. The whole area was like they were going to a funeral.
My husband and I moved here, not just because of that bridge, but because we wanted that small town feel. We moved from Northeast Philadelphia because we wanted this. We wanted community. And kind of a piece of that was gone.
How do you feel about what happened?
Well, when I found out in August who had burned the bridge, I was as shocked and sad as when I found out that it had been burned. I've been a teacher in the community for 22 years, and I've taught some of these young men, and I'm a mother as well. And my heart bleeds for the pain that has been caused by the choice to destroy a beautiful landmark that meant so much to all of us.
They say it takes a village to raise a child. Sure makes it look like our village doesn't do a very good job. And that hurts me.
I'm a learning support teacher. I'm with children. I've been with children for 21 years who don't have the opportunities that you young men have, do not have the parents that you all have. And you still made a really horrible choice.
Thinking, wow, somebody actually went and burnt down the bridge, a part of a staple of our community, something that was different, unique to our part of the nation, something special about this part, Bucks County, Pennsylvania. Something that was special was gone.
What's been the hardest thing for you?
I think today, as I hear each of you speak and see the potential that you all have, and I'm not angry, it's like it's hard to be angry at you, because I can see how those things can happen. I was a teenager too, but I mean, I don't think I'd ever do that, but stupid things happen, but so it's hard to be angry at you, and I don't know where to put that anger, and I think that's what's hard, and just like what's going to happen to you guys, I don't know, and it's such a shame, and I really hope that there's some good that comes out of this some way, somehow.
Sandy, can you tell us what this has been like for you?
It's been very devastating to our family. We see the hurt in the community, so it's very painful to go about your daily chores, going to the bank, going to the post office.
He was so distraught over what had happened that night, and he couldn't tell us because he was ashamed and disappointed, and it was just eating at him so much he didn't have that little jokester in him anymore.
You think about it all the time. You don't sleep. Your stomach's in knots all the time. I'm scared for my son. You think, did I do something wrong? How come my son could make the right decision? I know all these guys. Why can't one of them step forward and say, this is wrong, guys, we can't do this?
You do think about it a lot, obviously, every day, and maybe I wasn't helpful for Dan at some point. Because I care about him, and I know what potential he has to be something very special and to give back to the community. And I feel bad about that aspect, that if I could have done something that would have helped in the matter.
I thought juveniles, and I thought it was going to be the kids that are always in trouble, did something like that. And then the shock of finding out that my son and the friends that I was pleased that he had and has known since kindergarten or early education, early years, that these boys did something so thoughtless and possibly could have been dangerous to firefighters. I was baffled, and I still am, how they made a choice like that, because they're all good guys and they're all intelligent and just hurt.
What do you think the main issues are?
I think the main issues are the bridge probably trying to be rebuilt.
The other issue is just my son's future. He had a goal, what he wanted to do with his life. I just hope he can still get there.
The main issues are that they poured gasoline on a historic landmark and lit it on fire without any forethought. And there has to be some kind of repercussion. I think they need to pay restitution. I think they all would agree. But I don't think that they should be punished so that their futures are ruined.
Another thing I see is community healing. I think that's a very real issue.
I'm praying that the community will be able to wrestle with the anger and release that anger, because it's going to serve no purpose other than to damage the person who holds it. I want these young men to be able to know that their future does not need to be defined by a mistake. They can move on from this. Life can continue.
Vinny, is there anything you want to say at this time?
I know I'm sorry. I know we're all sorry. We all regret doing it.
And anything that we can do to try to make it better. I mean, I'm pretty sure we all want to do that because we don't want to feel this the rest of our lives.
Really hits home at something like this. Like Miss Smith, I had her as a teacher. Even like a couple months ago, I was looking back at stuff I did in her class and poetry, and just, I'm sorry to disappoint someone like that. She's a great person.
We just have to take responsibility for our actions and just try and move forward and do whatever we can to try and repair the damage that we did to the community, to our families, to everyone.
John, what would you like to see at today's conference?
I want you guys to start to be builders. You got to build yourself up. You got to build your families back. And you got to, no matter what happens, you're going to have to look at it as a tough job. And I am really concerned that you are us. I really want you to succeed.
What do you guys think about that?
We don't want to let this define us. So we want to try to make something good of it.
I think we all realize what opportunity we had with our lives and how we wasted it. And I'm almost 100% sure that none of us will ever be a destroyer again.
Laura, what would you like to see from today's conference?
I too, like many here, would like to see the bridge rebuilt, and I don't know what is needed for that to happen. If restitution needs to be a part of that to make that possible. But more importantly, each of you has a gift, maybe more than one. And I'd just like you to use those gifts to benefit the community, the future of this community.
What do you think about those things, Vinny?
Definitely think we should pay for a lot of the bridge because it's not something that would have needed to be paid for before.
We definitely were the ones that got rid of the bridge, so we should be the ones responsible for kind of putting it back. But I don't think we'll be any help if we're, locked up. I don't see how we'd actually be able to help anybody and help people heal from that.
You got to get outside the box, Joe. You're not uneducated. If you go to someplace and you have to spend a little time, try to help somebody while you're there. Because there's going to be a lot of people, a lot less than you.
And what I would like to see is that you have to spend man-hours rebuilding the bridge. That you have to be there when the first nail goes in, till they're opening it up with a grand opening. That's what I would like to see.
What I'd like to see come out of the conference really has nothing to do with the bridge. I think that there are 6 families here, there's 6 young men here, and they're never going to be able to return the support of their parents, their families, but they need to spend their lives working to do that. That's got to be with you guys forever.
Before I close, I just want to provide anyone else with a final opportunity to speak. Is there anything anyone wants to say?
I just want to thank everyone for participating in this and giving us this opportunity to share our thoughts, and for you also to let us know how you're feeling.
I would like to say to all the boys, my son included, you heard some very wise things said today. I hope you guys actually really take in and use that wisdom, really put it to work and appreciate the words that were given to you.
I want to thank everyone for their contributions, working through the issues toward a better understanding of what's happened.